Hey, I'm James. I'm a former litigator now working at MidPage. In this tutorial, we're going to cover a concrete example to show you how to get started. Just to orient yourself here on the left, on the bottom here, you can manage your account settings. And with this button, you can navigate through your research history for different research sessions. I'm going to go ahead and start a fresh one for this tutorial. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on this new issue icon here, and I'm going to edit the title to be non-compete research. And I'm going to enter in a few material facts. I don't have to give away anything confidential if you're worried about that. We don't store any of your data anyway, but you can keep it broad as you want. So in this specific example, I'm filing a preliminary injunction to prevent my client's former employee from working at a competitor. And I've just listed out 4 key terms from the non-compete agreement that he had signed. And I'm going to fill out the motion type here. Preliminary injunction. My desired outcome is granted since I'm filing it, and that will automatically save. So now that I've saved some background facts, I can enter in a search. I could use Boolean operators, which if you've used Lexis or Westlaw or Casetext, you might be familiar with. I'm sure you are. There's a list of them here. But you can also just search like you would on Google with key terms. So let's just do a simple search. Non-compete preliminary injunction. And let's set our jurisdiction to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, EDNY, and SDNY. And that will load automatically. Another thing I can do to more narrowly tailor my search results is click this button. And by clicking this button, I'm also going to be running a search for things that are responsive to the facts that I've entered here. So let's go ahead and click that. So let's walk through what you can do on any given search result in MidPage. Obviously, you get the responsive snippet. Nothing new there. But you can click this outcome dropdown, and what this will give you is an AI-generated summary of the case. So you have the procedural posture and the outcome. You can click here for a more detailed summary if you would like that. It will list facts, issue, holdings. You can also click on the compare facts feature, and once you've entered in facts here, it will take these and compare them to the facts in this case. So let's run through that. First, we'll get a list of similarities, and every similarity will be linked to a source quote, which is hyperlinked, and clicking on it will automatically take me to that section. You will also get a list of distinctions. So for example, geographic scope in your case is anywhere in the United States, which is significantly broader than the 10-mile radius applied in the provided case in golden crust here. So if you bring your attention to the right-hand side of any search result, you can see when you last saw this case. So I just opened this case, so it says just now, but down here on this case, you can see that I've seen this case 2 minutes ago, which is a helpful way to keep track of things you've seen and when you saw them. If a case is not relevant to you, you can always hide it. It won't remove it from the search completely, but anytime this shows up as a search result in this case, it will be sort of automatically collapsed. So you can sort of check off what you've deemed to be, not noteworthy or things you just want to hide from your case or from your search results. But I'm going to unhide that one. And then this green dot here indicates that we've predicted that this is likely to be a favorable case for me. And we've done that because we've detected that this Golden Crust Patties case is a preliminary injunction case. The outcome of that motion was that it was granted. Here's a little analysis of why we think that it's going to be favorable. And you can always override the favorability. So let's just set that as favorable. So now that will always be there. So one feature that people really love is this questions feature. This is a place where you can enter in sort of your checklist of questions that you need to know about every single case. You can just enter them in once, and then I'll show you how you can quickly extract answers from every search result. This is helpful because normally we'd keep these things in our head as we're reading cases, which is obviously not ideal. So let's just say, what was the geographic region covered by the non-compete, and when, and did the, or what was the relationship between. So I've entered some questions here, and now anytime that I'm looking at a search result, I can just immediately dive into that specific question and generate an answer. And again, we always give you the relevant supporting quotes, which will be hyperlinked. So this is a great way to skim results and really isolate the really important parts of the decisions before even having to open them. So in this case, it was a franchisor or franchisee relationship. I'm talking about an employee-employer relationship in my case, but this case is still probably helpful and worth reading in detail, so I'm going to add it to my notebook. And let's just go through this exercise for a couple more cases. Okay, so this is an employee-employer. Here we didn't find an answer. This was a motion to dismiss, so could be irrelevant to my case. Let's just set it as irrelevant for now, and let's also hide that. Also take a look at this case here. So denying a motion for preliminary injunction, it's likely to be unfavorable. I'm just going to override that, so it's set. And let's also do a quick fact comparison. So I already learned, okay, this is about Massachusetts law. My case is in New York, and let's just assume that New York law applies. But I'm going to want to add this to my notebook so I can come back to it and give it a more thorough read. In the Notebook tab, you view all of the cases that you've saved to this particular research session. You can dive into them with this link, and again, we open the split screen view. You have the Read tab on the left, Notebook on the right. You can always click out of one if you want. And normally, if I were using a different research platform, what I would be doing is I would copy relevant excerpts and save them into a random Word document. That's not a great way to keep organized notes. So instead, with MidPage, you can just highlight whatever excerpt is relevant, just selecting one randomly here, and add it to your notebook. And now it will be saved here. You'll notice that links to other cases are highlighted in gray, and the reason we do this is because you can hover on these cases. So instead of having to open up all of these cases in new tabs, you can just hover, get a quick summary of the case, affirming lower court's denial. So that's actually bad for me. I'm going to want to review that. I can add it to my notebook here, and I can also just dive into the relevant section of this case that supports whatever proposition is being discussed in Golden Crust. So let me just add a couple more cases. So now I'm just going to add one or two more excerpts. Maybe I want to go into one of the other cases. Let's just add some more chunks. So now that I've sort of populated my notebook with relevant excerpts like this, I can easily export this to a nicely formatted Word document. just by clicking export. Let's just save this here. And if I ever want to switch between my matters, jump to a different one, I can always do that from this navigation panel.